about fun and, games, but they're also about big money and significant global cultural influence. Through the years, there have been many kinds of court cases involving games in the industry. Some were frivolous and funny, but others could really catch you in the feels if you don't watch out. We've delved through the paperwork and found some pretty tasty lawsuits that involve major studios, A-list celebrities, and even the Olsen Twins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Today's video is brought to you by NordVPN. Use the link in the description and save 75% on a 3-year plan. Switch to NordVPN to protect yourself today.
For your delight and your disgust, here's 10 of the juiciest lawsuits in gaming history. Sometimes a game just grabs you and doesn't let you go until it's completed. You probably can spare a few hours of your time to do a couple of challenges, right? But if the game is Fallout 4, it might take a bit longer. In 2015, a man from Siberia sued Bethesda because Fallout 4 allegedly ruined his life. According to his own account, he only meant to play the game for a couple of evenings. But before he knew it, 3 weeks had flown by and his life was ruined. Because of his monumental session, he had neglected his wife so much she had left him. He didn't show up for work either and also lost his job. We would say that losing your job and your relationship frees up loads of time for gaming, and you should be a happy man. But instead, he sued Bethesda for 500,000 rubles. That comes down to about $7,000. $7,000 to compensate for losing your wife and job? Or is it exactly the price for an epic gaming setup? This list is about lawsuits in gaming, so you wouldn't expect the most alpha types involved in these. Until Activision fudged with this guy. Dictator Deluxe, Manuel Noriega. Sure, he had been in jail for 25 years at the moment of the lawsuit, but it's still a cool story to tell your friends. Yo, I had beef with Manuel Noriega. The lawsuit revolved around Manuel's depiction in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Now you ask, how would he know about his role in the game while in jail? Well, his loving grandchildren told him. So, Mr. Pineapple Head, as his enemies called him, decided to sue, because, to his horror, he was depicted as a kidnapper, murderer, and enemy of the state. Eventually, the case was thrown out because the court concluded there was no damage done to Noriega's reputation, because he was already regarded as a kidnapper, murderer, and enemy of the state. Fair enough, makes sense.
There were no redeeming qualities about Noriega.
Of all the people that can sue you, the most terrifying scenario is probably being sued by the Olsen Twins. Have you seen them? There's nothing behind those eyes. It may come as a surprise, but Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen have a whopping 9 games that bear their name. It would have been 10, but the last game that was going to be called Mary-Kate and Ashley in Action was cancelled in 2003. The reason for the cancellation seems to be that publisher Acclaim just tapped out, seeing as every single Olsen Twins game turned out to be horrible. After the cancellation of their agreement, the twins went after Acclaim for $660,000 that included royalties and a termination fee. The Olsen's lawyer called the termination the single dark spot on the otherwise unblemished success story of the Mary-Kate and Ashley brand. We beg to differ. There's more dark spots on the Olsen Twins entertainment library than you'll find on a month-old banana. In the USA, everything is bigger. Even amateur sports are a multi-billion-dollar industry. But if the athletes are amateurs and don't get paid, where do these billions flow to? In 2014, a class action lawsuit was filed against the National Collegiate Athletic Association over the incredible revenue they were making by exploiting the likeness and names of college athletes through merchandise, TV deals, and video games, despite saying they wouldn't. One of the sources of revenue were EA's NCAA video games that depict the amateur athletes. However, EA and the NCAA denied this. They claimed that the games did not depict any real athletes because their names were not included. But what they did include was the athlete's real-life jersey number, position played, hometown, physical characteristics like weight, height, skin color, face geometry, hairstyle, and muscle shape. Yeah, if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's probably a college athlete. EA and the NCAA ended up paying $40 million to the players, and EA had to stop making NCAA games. Brown versus the Entertainment Merchants Association was one of those cases that could have altered gaming forever. The case disputed a proposed law that would make it a crime for stores to sell certain violent games to minors. The proposed law was a reaction to increased aggression amongst the youth of America. Of course, video games were blamed, and specifically games that, quote, add nothing to the free exchange of ideas for minors, do not represent a step to the truth, and lack any benefit to be derived from them by minors. Cue Postal 2. This game was brought forward as a new piece of evidence to show how horribly and unreasonably violent video games can be. Granted, Postal 2 is a ridiculous feast of violence. But have you read Hansel and Gretel? They burn that witch alive. Eventually, it was ruled that games should be regarded in the same light as books and movies. The state should not be allowed to dictate who sees what, and it's at the discretion of the parents to decide what their children play based on the industry's own rating system. Remember video rental stores? They're all dead now. But a long time ago, they were huge. As video games became more popular, these rental stores also started renting out games. Buying a video game once, and then renting it out hundreds, if not thousands of times, makes a huge profit. And Nintendo wanted in on that. After first killing off the rental games in Japan, Nintendo decided to do the same in the USA, but their claim was rejected there. To still hurt the rental of their video games, Nintendo decided to try something else. They claimed that the copies of instruction manuals, which rental stores included with the games, were a copyright infringement, even if the original manual was ruined by thousands of grubby teenage hands. Blockbuster lost this case and was forbidden to copy manuals any longer. And that's why video game manuals in rental stores are in worse shape than the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Here we go!
Uri Geller is mainly known for his bending of spoons and avoiding tough questions about how he does it. But did you know this magic man actually sued Nintendo for $86 million? Do you remember Kadabra? He was one of the original Pokemon. However, in the Japanese card game, he was named Young Geller. Combine that with the point he bends spoons with his mind, and you can see how Uri Geller's own warped mind got the idea to sue. Geller claimed Nintendo turned him into, quote, an evil occult Pokemon character, and apparently that's worth $86 million to him. The court case did not come to a resolution in the end, but the threats of future lawsuits is the reason that Kadabra hasn't been seen in the Pokemon card game since 2003.
Special character.
For this entry, we have a less frivolous lawsuit that might be a tad depressing. On November 22nd, 1997, 13-year-old Noah Wilson was fatally stabbed in the heart by his friend. The victim's mother claimed that the incident was caused by the game Mortal Kombat. She argued her son's friend was addicted to the game Mortal Kombat to such an extent he actually thought he was the character Cyrax. The mother claimed the way her son was killed resembled Cyrax's finishing move, which would be a headlock followed by a knife to the chest. However, Cyrax never performs this move in the game. The mother sued Midway for damages based on product liability laws, because according to her, the game was designed to addict players to the exhilaration of violence. And she also sued the store, where the boy supposedly played Mortal Kombat. But the store never had a Mortal Kombat cabinet, and in the end, the court ruled there was no claim made by the mother upon which relief could be granted. Now for a lawsuit that's still going on at the time of the making of this video. The case of Epic Games versus the dancing celebrities they stole dance moves from. Well, we say stole dance moves from, but isn't that the whole dispute? Can you copyright a dance move? There's three main dance moves being contested in a lawsuit against Epic Games, Fortnite's creator. The Carlton Dance from the Fresh Prince's Alfonso Ribeiro, the Floss by Backpack Kid, and the Millie Rock, popularized by rapper 2 Millie. Despite it being pretty obvious that the mentioned artists popularized said dance moves, it's not clear whether they own the copyright to them. Turns out that none of the artists has ever made an application with the Copyright Office for the dance moves. So, as it stands now, all three plaintiffs have suspended their claims to first find out if they can actually get their moves registered to them, which might be a challenge since it's possible to copyright choreographies, but not single moves. Remember guys, dance to express, not to impress. Have you ever confused Donkey Kong with King Kong? Neither have we. That's why it's so strange that in 1982, Universal sues Nintendo over this great ape. Donkey Kong was released in 1981, and by 1982, it had already sold over 60,000 cabinets and earned $180 million. This caught the attention of Universal, and in an opportunistic move, they sued Nintendo, claiming Donkey Kong was entirely based on King Kong, as they sent cease and desist letters to distributors of Donkey Kong and scared them into sharing royalties. It was never 100% clear if Universal even owned the rights. Only Nintendo and two other parties dared to resist Universal's pressure and let it come to a court case. The twist came when Nintendo kept insisting Universal produced proof that they owned the rights to King Kong in court. This never came, mainly because it was never clear who owns the rights to King Kong in general. What did become clear, though, was that Universal themselves had sued RKO in 1975 over the King Kong rights and won the lawsuit. What did Universal manage to prove? That the rights to King Kong are public domain, so they could make a movie. The judge quickly saw through Universal's dirty tactics and dismissed their claim and made them pay damages to Nintendo. Beat your chest about that. Do you know of some more scandalous court cases in gaming? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, so you'll be notified of our next Top 10 video.